Okay, great. So welcome to the live session. Uh, nothing went wrong before this started. So Bipul isn't here, so I'm going to start with him because I missed him last time, and we need to get to his stuff, and it should be easy because frankly, this looks fantastic, Bipul. You addressed all the notes that I gave you about, let's see, about him being. He felt, oops. Okay, so why is that? Here? All right, sorry, this is the first time I've done this move QuickTime in Photoshop. And hopefully I don't do something weird here. All right, so I had given Bipul some notes about getting a little light into that area because he had gone a little too far with his contrast. He was trying to make it moody. And this has a really nice balance now. I mean, it's still, it feels, like he's in a parking lot somewhere. It's night with very heavy fog, volumetrics from the lights out there, but you still, you're getting a good read on the characters' faces still. And the most important thing ultimately is still, I mean, while you want the drama, you need to see the performance, right? And this is a good balance. Like it's just enough to see what's going on. You can see his eyes. You can see how he's emoting, but it's not so dark that that stuff's getting lost. So good job there.
I always figured when I got older, God would sort of come into my life somehow.
And I had also given a note about getting better continuity with the truck, which you addressed as well. Here and here, that looks right. It looks similar enough. Oops. Yeah, here. What happens to these take lines? So yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this because it's looking really good. Like maybe inside the truck is a little too black. You might want to just mellow that out a little bit. Let's see how that looks in other shots. Yeah, like it's better here. It's got just a little bit of color and light into it, so you don't think about it too much, but it's a bit dark here. Yeah, well, it's a little flat here, but it's okay. At least it's not black. The one little minor thing I have is, I mean, I know his hair, his eyebrows, and his mustache are just geo. It's not fur or actual particle hair or anything. But because of that, this side is not getting, like subsurface and the kind of things that even in a dark environment would sort of tend to pick up the value of the hair, especially, if it's white, So it makes it just feel dirty. So I would brighten these grays up, not like this, but just so it doesn't feel dingy. When I first played this, last time you sent it, I didn't notice, the full extent of the action, like what was happening. Like, he sounds like he's kind of tragic, but I didn't realize that he's holding this gun. And so this is a more menacing scene than I thought. And I think maybe you need to make that gun stick out a little bit more. Like, I mean, you've done a nice job of hitting it here, but maybe it needs a little bit more diffuse on it, just so you see it better. Like here, you're hitting it with rim. That's might be the only way to see it. And it's just the fact that it's not very much in frame makes it a little tough. But yeah, I wish I had known it was there sooner. And I don't know if there's anything you can really do about that because all you have is this little nub here, but I would try to do that. And kind of similarly, one of the early versions, excuse me, you had of this was a little bit brighter in this area. And I think you probably thought it was too bright, but maybe, reading this neck tattoo a little clearer is worth doing because, it makes him seem a little dodgier as a character. My apologies to any of you who have neck tattoos, but yeah, just a little bit on there because it sort of mostly reads as neck too, but it's just dark enough that you can't quite tell if it's just grimy or what. So I think that would help. And like I'm not quite sure what's going on here. If that's a bruise. If it is, or if it's shadowing, it's a little unclear. Like I wish I understood this a little bit better. Because it's, clearly it's kind of important. So you got to tell me what that is. But that's really all I have because it looks very nice. The balance overall is really nice. The colors work well together. And there's some nice subtlety to how you're treating the darks. I think that works quite well. So thank you. Congratulations. All right. Who's here? Andre, Alex, Caro. Andre, I still haven't had a chance to look at this. Okay, why don't you start by telling me about this scene and what you want to do with this scene and what you're interpreting is happening here. I'll just play it for everybody first. Okay. There's no audio to this, right?
No audio. Yeah. This is an animation that I got from an animator on LinkedIn, and and I decided to try to do something that looked like a bit Tim Burton-like, but not that extreme. And basically what I tried to do was to show, when he floats and everything floats up, a little bit, show a little bit of power coming through, and the lights would, glow stronger, and there's also a glow overall. But that's basically it. Yeah. Trying to convey a dungeon or a basement or something like that, or that had a skylight, and that where all this is, or maybe some castle or something like that, where everything is happening. But yeah, basically.
Okay. I just saw this gobo. Like I didn't even realize it was there. Excuse me. I think it's kind of big, and it's just taking over the whole floor, and I think it's too much. And it's also a little sharp. And honestly, I'm having trouble. Oh, it's a skylight, so it's coming straight down.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, like these mullions would be much more diffused than this. They'd be spread out a lot because that's pretty high up, unless there's a Klieg light out there, and you don't want that impression. So yeah, this should be softer. And I think just compositionally, you want to square it up more on the pentagram and the body, the corpse here, because you get it, or turn it, or crank Dutch it a little bit. It's a little odd that the way that it's filling the floor. Like I thought it was like a rug because it goes almost end to end, and then it leaves this spot in the front. I think if you're going to play Skylight in this kind of spooky environment, I mean, this is a perfect time to put a volumetric of some sort, coming straight down, because especially once he levitates her, you're going to get a nice shadow underneath her, and that'll make her really feel like she's floating. Right? Like, oops, turn off. So like here, just not doing this right. That there should be negative space under her. That'll really make her feel like she's rising. I mean, you've got the kick, the rim from that is working well, but actually, yeah, it feels odd that, again, probably because whatever light you're using to shoot that gobo, I mean, is it this big, or is it kind of tiny and you're projecting through it? Because it
No, it's a light that is, yeah, it's the size of the skylight, basically.
Yeah, I would definitely play around with the skylight, the size and the position of it and the sharpness of it. Because yeah, I think you want. So I'm gonna terrible painting, but especially like that. Where he's leaving shadow, she's leaving shadow, and then this will be helped by having probably less light or different light on that back wall, so that you can see all these volumetrics happening. Right. Something like that. So this is starting to give you more of a focus anyway, right? And yeah, like I think you could probably come down on around here. It's kind of bright. Well, we'll have to see, because I mean there would be quite a bit bouncing around, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when on that point is basically where the what I thought was like, the energy is at its maximum point. So I did let it, blow up a little bit. The candle lights actually get out of the candle and everything. So I was trying to, if there were lights, maybe one would like explode or something like that. But that was
okay.
the whole idea.
Fair enough. Maybe do the candles change hue at all? Yeah, maybe you should consider that too. Like have them be a little bit, oranger here, and when they really come up, they get yellower and whiter. And also, it might be cool if you duplicated these and had them, on. Are there actual lights pinned to the flames, or is this just comp?
No, they're lights.
Okay. So, you could like dupe this whole setup and have it go all the way around the room, right? Including behind camera. So that your fog, which you'll be introducing for the skylight, really warms up, in a way when you get the intensity that you wanted. That would be cool. And because it does feel a little funny that it's just back there, it's like it's a pentagram, like it should be on 5 sides or something. And then you'll also get more of a difference, from the sort of resting state to the excited state.
Okay.
And you always want to do that. It's like to get the drama, you need before and after, like less and more. So that will give you more of an excuse even to really punch everything up. I mean, I think it's cool that he goes up into the skylight and gets brighter. I think that works. But yeah, I mean, if at the same time, at these more intense moments, these things, rims are happening, because these lights are getting more and more intense.
Okay.
I guess there's a gag with this guy. He's the one thing that doesn't.
Oh yeah. The
he
thing
stays up
is,
there and
he's trying to give life to the girl, and actually what happens is he gives life to the skull.
Okay. I think he's a little. I mean, does he have his own light? Are you linking a light to him? Sorry, did you? No.
Yeah, no, it's all everybody's light.
Okay. However it's working, like maybe it's a little too much here, like you're telegraphing your move a little bit. And then conversely, I mean, it's cool that he's floating up there and you can see him. When he gets right up in here, we're losing his expression completely. So you're gonna have to fill him to make sure that we see that. And he does feel very, very warm, like uniformly warm. Like it would be nice if there's also like a cool component to this, so you can play your cools and warms against one another. There's a little bit of that in the rim here, and then there's this warm light. I'm not sure, is that from the skylight? Like where's that warm light coming from?
I think it's the texture on the skull that is warm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, in that case, yeah, I don't know. It feels a little out of place. That's why I was asking if it had an exclusive light on it, because
okay.
Given how cool all this stuff is, and if that's the same skylight, you would expect, that to be pretty cool as well. I mean, it's skulls are whitish, at least in movies. So yeah, that I think maybe you could play up some of the underlighting here. It actually feels like it's more, it's kind of filled, it's kind of dead on. You see a little bit of underlighting here, but I think given all this stuff, I would expect, well, that should be shadowed, but you might expect to feel more stuff like that happening, which would be kind of cool. As far as the characters go, I mean, yeah, I mean, characters look pretty good. I think, keep an eye on his eye whites and his teeth. Those are always important things in character lighting. And even if you need to push him a little bit, like he just would look better if you got a little bit more hint of this, right? And this were a little cleaner.
Okay.
All right, but it's a good start. it's going to be a fun project.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, Alex. All right, so you did a lot on this one, huh?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about it.
So I added some stuff into the moon. I
Mhm.
moved the camera over like you had said. I wanted there to be something in the background because I felt like when I moved him over and there's nothing in that right corner,
Mhm.
it felt like it was just empty. So I added that building and I feel like it works with this environment.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel like it has a nice spec. I rotated it just a smidge so that you could see that like nice moon
Yes,
hit
sir.
right there. Yeah.
That's nice.
Um, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of improvements here. It's looking good. I personally, I think it's just a little big. You know, it's like taking up a pretty substantial chunk of this corner. So I I could see like either shoving it over just a little bit or maybe down a little bit so that there's more of a crack of sky up there. It might lighten it a little.
Okay.
Um, the couple things that I noticed, like, okay, when you scooch the camera over, like maybe it's a little too far, but the bigger thing was, I think, let's see, this you lost a little bit of energy in the angle of the camera, I think.
Mhm.
You know, this is looking up and it's pretty dramatic, and then this is a little flatter on, and it's a little bit more normal, right? Like it doesn't have the same drama as this.
Mhm.
So I would maybe actually, let him be a little bit smaller in frame too, because that makes it feel like there's just more sky around him, and he's a bat,
Yeah.
So yeah, I would back the camera up a little bit, bring it down, and tilt it up a little.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think you did some nice work with the value here. I'm not sure about this color because I'm seeing like green and yellow coming in. Is that new? Is that intentional?
Yeah. I did a color balance inside of Photoshop and adjusted it a little bit because you said you wanted a little bit more yellow in the image, so I adjusted it to have just a tiny bit more yellow. But maybe I
Yeah,
overdid it.
I think so, because it's actually starting to read green now.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I mean, that was with the thought that the moon might get a little bit warm, and then this would, follow. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to either, because I mean that actually that has a tiny bit of yellow in it, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think you can, you can keep it. You could probably even make this a little bit brighter the way you had it, but just it's picking up too much yellow and forcing him to feel a little green, unfortunately.
Okay.
But also, I think given how bright that sun is, excuse me, the moon is, you can really sort of bloom. Um, where it's really hot, you can bloom this a little bit, and it'll on the one hand it feels slightly more obscure, but it also makes it feel more natural, lens wise. Just do some edge bloom.
Okay.
I like what you did here. At one point there wasn't this fog, and this thing was really sticking out, but this ties everything together much better. So I think that's all nice. His eyes are still a little. It's nice that there are eye dings, those little highlight specks,
Mhm.
but the actual sclera, the white of the eye,
Mhm.
it feels as dark as the rest of it.
Mhm.
I think you can pop that a little bit. with keep the hot spot, but yeah, it'll help to read a little bit more of the white of the eye.
Okay. Yeah, I can
But
definitely. I think I'll
but-
adjust that part in comp for sure.
yeah, no, it's fine. It's totally fine. But yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, at one point also you had some like rims from the moon on some of these posts.
Mhm.
That'll help. Just pull this out a little bit.
Okay.
For the ones where it makes sense. And then, yeah, I mean, if there's something you can do to get some of these that are right in front of him to read a little better. Maybe you can cheat just a little bit of that on there. Just so we can see the difference between the wrought iron ornament and him. It separates him a little bit, right?
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it. I mean, I think it's pretty, like you said, it's pretty much done. So
Awesome.
couple things, wrap it up.
Thank you.
Yep.
I've already started another one.
Okay, good. Looking forward to seeing it. Okay, so Caro, let's get to you. All right, so I didn't get a chance to really look at this at all. So you tell me about it.
I don't know what to say.
Well, what do you
what is
have the whole
special of-
animated thing?
What is special of this shot is has a lot of facial expression and a lot
Uh-huh.
of gesture with the
Uh-huh.
hands. I don't know how to say the word. And the animator went with a detective look, so I
Uh-huh.
want to keep that up. I want a really nice contrast, but without losing those well, like I said, facial expression and with him. These
Yeah.
are some kids. I tried to upload the playback, but it takes too heavy,
Okay.
so I couldn't.
Okay.
I don't know what more to say.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
I don't know how you see it. When I see it from my phone,
Uh-huh.
it looks a lot more saturated, and
Uh-huh.
in other people's phone, the corner of the on the right screen,
Mhm.
it looks completely dark. But I look at, well, I don't know how you look at.
You
How
mean
you saw it.
this back corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see detail
can
in
see it?
there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is pretty
Great.
dark though. Like, yeah, tell you, it's pretty dark.
Okay.
I don't think it's a problem, but it is dark. Well, I mean, maybe it is a little bit of a problem. Okay, let's see. I haven't really had much chance to think about this, so we're gonna have to play this by ear. I mean, obviously you're going for a noir film noir look, and that's all about contrasts and moving in and out of shadows and having shadowy shapes mask and reveal performance, right? So I think, I mean, I can't see what it's actually doing because we won't see it in motion, but it feels like that it's set up to do that well. So
I should say that what the character says, it isn't serious. It's more like a gag,
oh, really?
Yeah, he says, you piss at house. I get it. You're symbolicating killing him, and you start to work symbolicating. Wow, that's a tough word. That's all he says. It isn't serious.
Oh, okay. Well, it's lit serious.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, maybe that's okay, you know? I mean, it's fine. Unless you, okay, if you're trying to make it humorous or satirical,
Mhm.
you know, you know, as a parody of film noir, then we have some work to do.
Okay.
If you're playing it straight and you know it's like, yeah, sure, we'll make it dark and serious, and let the lines just be comedic, then yeah, you're on the right track. I mean, it definitely feels threatening, you know.
Oh, okay. So
So
I have to do
well,
change.
which is it? Which do you want it to be funny or do you want it to be, you know,
No, I
serious?
should do it funny because it's how the shot it is. So I
Okay, well,
should
in
do
that case,
changes.
I think we need to hear the lines, but you might, I mean, you know, it could still be because of the stereotype of this kind of movie, everyone expects it to be a certain way. So I don't know that it's necessarily you need to literally lighten things up or to make it funnier, but it's a little hard
Hmm.
without knowing exactly what's going on.
I don't know if I can copy the link of the Instagram what he
Mhm.
uploads. Maybe you can see it there
Okay,
if you
yeah,
want.
we can try that.
Yeah, because otherwise I can't.
Okay, so I have questions for you. In this shot or this part of the shot, what light is hitting him? Where is that coming from?
Um, I have two lights separately
Mhm,
in the first shot and in the other one. I have one light that is hitting the shirt and the background,
mhm.
and I have another that is giving him the light on the face, and the other things pretty much
Okay,
because
so there's a
I
light
have the ring
somewhere.
light on
Is
the window.
this is
That's
just the room light? It's not like for the desk or anything specifically. And then there's a light over the board, right? Over
yeah.
whatever.
I have three key lights.
Mhm,
For the first one, I have one key on the left side.
mhm.
On the second one, I have one on the board. There is not that one, the other one. I think there is that one. I
Mhm.
have one on the board specifically for that part when he walks, and I have a third key light on the board. So he has uh, like a feel, but I think it's too strong. But at the same time, I think if I put it a little bit lower, you're gonna lose that expression that I say.
Oh yeah, are you cheating something? Because he's not really shadowing underneath the hat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's probably a little strong because it does feel like there's an exclusive key on him.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Yeah, maybe this is too much. But
Okay.
you know, I mean, it's the right impulse to make sure that we can, you know, read his expressions as he approaches this thing. So I think you know the position of it's probably fine. It's just probably a little too strong. And maybe if you can find a way to get the brim of the hat to shadow a little bit so it still feels connected and it's not just totally fake, that would
Okay.
help too. Like, yeah,
I sent the link of the shot
okay,
if you want to see it
I will try. Sorry, where did you send that to?
in the chat.
In the Zoom chat?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right. Let's see.
You're
pissed at house. I get it. You're symbolicating killing him. Symbolicating? What? Symbolicalating. Gosh, that's a hard word.
That's it.
You can
Where is it? I want to see it again.
You're pissed at house. I get it. You're symbolicating killing him. Symbolicating? What? Symbolicalating. Gosh, that's a hard word.
Well, I mean, it's not. You can play that fairly
You can
straight
have it
because
any way you
he's
want.
just he's you know, flubbing his lines. I think this lighting's fine. This approach is fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Um, offhand, the only thing that comes to mind right away without seeing this in motion is I'd like the end of this, the board, to feel, you know, this is where he's headed, right? This is what the important part of the scene is, really, is him getting here for whatever reason. So it feels like the light that's on the board and sort of a supporting key area should just be bigger, you know, and
Okay.
more prominent. And like this light on the side should just be a lot less, you know. And like you could support this area with you know, more you play this up, you have a tiny bit of rim. Oops. From
Yes, I have another version with the ring light. It was quite strong.
yeah,
More, not in this one, but in the one it says 2.2. It was really strong on the shirt. Like I couldn't handle the ring light.
I think, you know, that it might be too much, but I think if you know, sorry, it's hard to see this. Like if all of this were not quite as bright, right? Because it's pretty bright, and I think you want to save that for you know, this area. Like
Okay.
there's a reason, like even before he goes there, and maybe there's a little bit of atmosphere and dust motes and stuff. There's a reason why he's compositionally and you know, in the lighting for him to head this direction.
I sent on the chat another version that has the that ring light that you're pointing a little bit more strong, but I wasn't sure.
Okay. I don't know what is happening here. Where is this? This isn't my PC. Okay.
Oh, it's for okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can you post that to the Discord?
Okay. Yes.
It'll be easier to see. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, like that. But you know, bring this way down. And I think you can even him out a little bit. Like if you don't have this extra key and this feels more like a slightly brighter fill, you could fill in some of this area too, because he is a little dark, you know, like down in.
Like
down in
if
here.
he doesn't have a desk lamp on his side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, probably not. I mean, it feels like there are too many, a little too much going on.
Okay.
You know, unless it was actually supported in a previous shot, I would say, you know, make this be the important thing here. And also, I mean, it just technically, like this feels really hot, like it's blowing out.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I don't know what his shaders are like, but yeah, he feels overlit. And what you want to do is get the diffuse lower and then add some speck, or you know, have the specular component be more of it. He feels kind of gummy, you know, like
Okay.
like a gummy bear.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's, some of it might be subsurface, but also it's just like regular skin. Let's say there, you know, his lamp was here. You would expect some, you know, highlight. Yeah, like even just painting that onto his knuckles feels more natural,
Okay.
right? So bring the diffuse down, and either, you know, depending on the size of the light, like maybe this light's too big too, and it's spreading the specular all over the place. You might need to tighten it up a little bit, or keep the very soft box, you know, for the fill, and then bring in a spec light, just a specular light, and then you can play with the size of it and get some, you know, ridges on his geometry that make him feel a little bit more natural, like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, I try to make more feel the light. I mean, make it look more like feel that key, but I don't know what to do with the face. I mean, I should down the light on him, or I should keep that
Yes. Also,
that level.
yeah, he's too he's too bright and he's too dark. I mean,
Okay.
he has you know, beard, so that doesn't help, right? It makes it harder. But I think like all of this is too bright. So if that came down, you know, I'm not going to try to do it here because my Photoshop skills are not where they need to be. But yeah, all of this could come down. But then on top of that, like in the same way, you know, get a little bit of speck
Okay.
on those areas, and see, like already, like when you do something like this, you can see that it sort of starts to pick up his features. But this really feels overlit. It's just, there's too much light. And then, but then also, you're probably going to want to fill like all of these really dark, dirty areas need to get a little bit of fill into them.
Yeah, I
Just
have a feel
hint.
there, but I don't think that gets to the suit.
Mhm.
But in the face, it has. I can
You
feel
might need to
that.
bounce something up from below, you know, because this is also really dark. I mean,
Okay.
that's the thing with CG lights, is different than, you know, live action. In a real set, in a real environment, you're always going to get bounce lights, all kinds of bounce lights, to, you know, from, you know, even when it seems like it's practically dark, there's always a little bit of light everywhere. In
Yes.
CG, unless you're using global illumination with a lot of bounces, you can have areas that are literally black, like no ray ever touches it. And that looks really fake and
Okay.
dirty and noisy and just bad. So like the biggest sort of telltale sign of CG lighting that's gone wrong is to see black areas. Like it can be dark, but it has to have some color in it.
Some information. Okay.
Something like, usually it's cool, you know, because we're used to seeing sky. In an interior, it might not be, it might be warm, but then, well, yeah, okay, I didn't think of this, but like you've got the neon outside, but normally, just kind of by convention, um, uh, night sky in a movie is blue, right? Because obviously you can't shoot it. So instead you get a little bit of light out there and you saturate it blue as much as you can. And we've just come to accept that the blue environment, like deep blue environment means night, even though real night never feels that way. So that might actually help quite a lot too if you do that out here. So you'll get some blue, some deep blue with the pink reacting together on this, and then your fill, like your ambient fill in the room, can be like blue kind of moon sky, dark, night skylight that's been sort of very subtly and with low energy bouncing around. So all of these areas have a tiny bit of blue to them.
Okay.
And that'll help cure your blacks also. And the best part is that it gives you color contrast. You always, the human eye is just used to registering the difference between warm and cool light, just because we evolved to where there's a blue sun and a blue sky and a warm sun.
And that field, I should do it with the Skydance?
Well, for outside, yes, or whatever you're doing, so that it comes through. I mean, you can fake it too. You could just stick a giant card out there. I mean, a giant area light or something. And inside, what are you rendering in? I mean, not that I know the difference, but
Arnold.
Arnold?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know the best way to do it in Arnold. Any of you have suggestions on how to deal with an interior space and getting fill bouncing in there?
Because maybe the light I'm using with the shirt, because I say that I have one light linking to only the shirt and everything else. Maybe I should do it more blue.
Yeah.
And
just throwing my 2 cents in there because you asked about the fog. I'm currently working in Arnold right now, and what I'm using for my fill light is the what's it called? Like a key light. I'm calling it a key light, but it's basically like the directional light, and I'm treating it like, so it adds some. You can lower the opacity and lower the intensity, but you can basically lighten up that whole area without it having to like become overbearing in the scene.
Okay.
If you just put a little directional light, so you don't have to completely like continuously relight the scene, it won't affect your scene too much, just the areas of the face that's necessary as well.
Do you get really harsh shadows with a directional light? Are those parallel rays?
No, you can change it so that the shadows are like whatever color you're going for, because right now I'm using it and I have like you said, I didn't have completely black shadows. I have like purple-ish shadows or bluish shadows.
Oh yes, you can. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably better that you do something like that, and you'll be able to get this directionality that he's showing with this from his illustration here. Yeah, I feel like that'll probably be the best option.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Does that help, Caro?
Yes, it does.
Anything you got any questions? Anything else I can address specifically?
Nope, not for me.
Okay, then thank you. We'll move on to, I don't know who, Ruby's here. Hi, Ruby. You didn't post anything new though, right, Ruby?
No. I did send you one directly about the yeah.
All right.
About the banding issue that I was having.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. All right. Sorry.
No worries.
I don't know. That I tell you what, I'll try to get back to you on that one because that's a tech thing and thing. I don't know. I can't deal with that right now. It's not gonna
Okay.
work. Actually, we're kind of running out of time too. Sorry, we'll run a little long. Did I get everybody in the room at least? Yeah, right. Okay, so and Bipul, I got Alex. Okay, so there were. Okay, this is Nolan. And Nolan, you've shown this a few times, I think, in different places. I mean, I think you're done. You've been done. A couple of things though that I would definitely address. You have a lot of reflection in the eyes, and like, what's going on? To the point where, they look cloudy. They look like cataracts. This one does anyway. And then on the other side, she's got some weird reflections going on in her eyes that I don't quite understand, and they don't really work. I would clear those up because otherwise everything looks pretty nice. At one point I think, or maybe there was so much fog on here I couldn't quite tell, but it seemed like you had a little bit more rim light. I mean, that's pretty bright there. So, I think. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. Bring a little bit of that back. I'm not quite sure what that is, the iridescence there, because that feels pretty bright, but I don't know why it's as hot as that, because there's really not that much light on this side. A little bit extra is okay because it's like she's wearing a sequin dress practically, and it would pick up light all over the place, but that does feel a little extra bright. Oops. I think it would be nice to bounce something up into this side of the boat. Either both have a little bit of warm rim, but also cheat a little bit of sense of the water kicking some light up. At least on that side, even here underneath, it feels weird that the bottom of it is so black. Just get them a little bit closer together. Yeah, that's about it. It's a nice piece, right? Okay. So who is left? There's two left. There's Kaya and Tiame. All right, well, let's try to address this really fast. So Kaya, I hope we get a chance to talk at some point. If you could post your sort of available times at what time zone you're in, it'd be great if we could just meet for 10-15 minutes and get to know you a little bit and find out your background and so on. I've been doing that with everybody that I can. It's cool that it's Unreal. If it's Unreal, this should be a movie because I want to see that fog moving because it takes nothing to render. It's very dramatic. I do feel like you're like, if the fog went away, would this be all black? Except for right here. That's my concern, that it's being lit artificially by fog more than ambient light. And even if you want drama, I think there needs to be more ambient light, because like these areas feel very shadowy and dark to me, like there's almost, you know, one big light in here and not much else. So it's skylight or something, but you probably need more of it. And you know, I don't know, like I can't remember. I haven't gotten into Unreal 5. I don't know if that's what you're using here, but it feels like there could be more bounce in general. Like I don't know if the global illumination is kicked up or not, but yeah, it feels mysterious and alien, but it doesn't feel terrestrial. It doesn't feel like our planet. I don't know if it's supposed to, because there's this floating thing here, but somehow, yeah, that to me that feels like it's the ambient conditions are not realistic. Like there just isn't enough ambient light going on, and that this is all totally driven by the key and whatever little bouncing it's doing, which doesn't feel like it's that much. So yeah, let's find a time to chat. It'd be great. Okay, Tiame. So I would really like to talk to you too, because I'm not quite sure what you're shooting for here. I know you said you put some fog in, and there's definitely quite a bit of fog here. But like as far as, you know, lighting is storytelling, right? It's visual storytelling. So I'm not entirely sure what you're going for here. So it would be good to clarify that. I assume that your mermaid is glowing and is self-illuminated. I think if that's the case, if she's the light source, then this fog feels like they're almost on a stage with a psych, and it's just a white wall behind them because it's so thick, and you know, it needs some graduation to it. If they were in fog, right, and she were glowing, then there'd be fall off. Like the fog around them would be colored very much by, you know, her lighting, which, let's say it's kind of like this, and it's really big like this. So and then it would start to drop off in intensity as we move away from them, right? And he's casting a nice shadow here from the fog, but all of this back here, yeah, we need to find a way to break this up, because right now it's just solid, and it feels like a soundstage that's hasn't been really painted or treated much. So I would start with that. If you want this, you know, glowing girl in the fog thing happening, then try to get, I don't know if this is Z fog, you know, Z depth stuff, or if you actually have volumetrics in here, but if you made her emissive and put her in an actual 3D fog volume, that might start to do exactly this kind of thing. So look into that. All right. Okay, so that's it for this evening. You guys got any questions in general for me? Anything I can, hopefully not technical questions, because I don't know what packages you're really using, so I'm not going to be able to answer those offhand. Yeah, so we good?
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you so much.
sure thing. All right, we'll keep posting your stuff, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.